Hi, I'm going to walk you through my cardiology service blueprint for referrals today. You'll see across the top here is where we start with the patient experience in green up here. You'll see this where it's labeled front stage, this line of interaction, and what happens in the backstage. So purely what the patient experience happens across this top lane, and then what other actors interact with the patient will go down this left side. But let's go across the top a little bit. You'll note I've noted some patient needs that were identified during patient interviews, and we call those out where there was enough of them to quantify that this was an issue area. You'll also see that there's a duration on this top part here, and it is quite large. Let me put myself down. So primary care and how long it takes getting in. What I don't have right here is from symptom onset to getting into primary care. That varies widely across different service lines. But you can see it's quite large. So we start with symptom onset, then primary care, and then if non-urgent, about 7 to 10 days to receive test results. That was our next phase. All of this is happening in the PCP primary care clinic. They may have access to EKG procedures in primary care. But you'll notice that the patient actions get quite long and a lot of things are happening behind the scenes as we continue to go through. In real life, this is about 8 feet wide by about 4 feet high. So let's go down the side and see what's in here. So down the side is the different departments. So primary care has 2 personas in it, most likely an MA, a PA, and their primary care provider themselves. You'll also see what tools or channels of communication they were using. And then we get further along down here and you'll see a central access team. You'll also see types of activities that I've marked on here that are important during this process. You'll also note that once we get underneath the central access team, we are now getting into cardiology where there's quite a few actors in here. There's a referral coordinator, there's a referral nurse, and there's multiple patient visit specialists. And we haven't even gotten to the cardiologist yet. So the process of getting from a referral into see a cardiology, all these personas are touching this patient's referral and or record at some point in time. What you can do now is if we zoom out, you can start to track what happens to the patient and what's actually happening behind the scenes, what we call backstage. So you'll see referrals starting to get created. Referral is signed by a provider, and then you'll start to see the actions that happen from that. Again, we're still tracking time on this, so you'll start to see 3 days or less. I think this might actually be longer now. You'll see additional tools they're using called WriteFax. Again, we're familiar with Epic. Prior auth required, so there's, depending on your insurance or payer, there's different flows to go through. And there's handoffs, so I've marked here, these are considered handoffs. And you'll see in red, these are major pain points actually, and you'll see these letters up above, and those were outcomes that we were looking to change. You can also see in here, if I go back up by the patient, this Press Ganey ranking right here. So ultimately what they were looking to do is improve their CAPS scores, and they used Press Ganey to run questionnaires to the patients. One thing they were working on was ease of scheduling appointments and ease of contacting. So whenever you start to see red in the service blueprints, that usually indicates not great experience. So I thought it gave a really good example of how they felt during this time.
I'm worried about my health and I want to make sure that I get to see people and I understand what the schedule is as opposed to, okay, we'll do this test in like 10 days or 14 days and then we'll figure out what's next. Just like play out the entire scenario to me and let me know what all the possibilities are. Again, this is that entire question about being in the dark, where I felt as though I wasn't fully told it.
So if you're interested in diving deeper into the service blueprint, connect with me on LinkedIn or leave me a message in my email below.